Hello everybody, this is Salar and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on C Sharp. In this course, we are learning C Sharp step by step. In the last lecture, we talked about tuples, very interesting tool in programming, and now we know how to use it and code it. In this lecture, we are going to discuss nullable types. It's also an important concept to understand, but the concept is very straightforward. We already have background knowledge to understand nullable types in C Sharp. Let's have some knowledge and discussion about nullable types. First, we need to clean our code file. So here's a code we wrote in the previous lecture. So let's remove all the methods and clean the main method. Like I said, we already have background knowledge to understand nullable types. In the method section, we talked about value types and reference types. You remember this slide, right? It's a slide from the previous lecture, and when we discussed that slide, we said data types are divided into two broad categories. The one is value types and the other is reference types. In the value type section, we have data types like integer, double, boolean, DateTime, and struct. Whereas in the reference category, we have classes, array, string, list, dictionary, object, etc. We also know the reason why the types are divided into two categories. I am not going into the detail. We have already discussed that previously. Having that background in mind, we can grasp nullable types easily. We have a very special value in programming which is called null. As you can see, the color of the null is blue and all the reserved keyword in C# are usually displayed in a same color. So in this IDE, all the reserved color are blue. As you can see here, blue, 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 and blue. So null is a reserved keyword and it's a value, right? So null is a value. The question is, what does this value represent? Null actually represents nothing. Null means no memory reference. It's very important to understand the meaning of a null. Null simply means nothing, no memory reference. We cannot compare null with empty. Empty means something is there which is empty. For example, a glass which is empty, but glass exists. When we apply the null concept, that simply means there is no glass. Empty or non-empty is not a discussion in case of null. Null simply means nothing. Now, this null value can be assigned to some types and cannot be assigned to other types. For example, if I have a string variable, let's call it name, this variable can be assigned null value. However, if I have an integer value, let's call it number, I cannot assign a null value to a number type or the integer type variable or the data type. Our program has error, and what does it say? It says cannot convert null to integer because it is a non-nullable value type. That simply means integer is not nullable, whereas string is nullable. So nullable is simply a type that can be assigned a null value. And all the reference value types in C# are actually nullable. That simply means you can assign a null value to a class object variable, a string type, array type, etc. On the other hand, value types are not nullable. You cannot assign a null value to integer, double, structure, date and time, etc. Let's have more examples. Array is also a reference type. That means we can assign null to that type. You see, null is acceptable. Boolean is value type. Here we have a Boolean variable and we cannot assign a null value to that type. So we now know where to assign null value. In C#, we have a mechanism to change a non-nullable type into nullable types. And for this conversion, all we need to do is just put a question mark right after the data type name. For example, integer question mark, bool question mark. Now you see the null is simply accepted and there is no error in our program. It's interesting, right? A boolean type and a number type can also assign null value. This question mark that you see here is actually a shorthand of applying nullable to the non-nullable. It is a more common syntax to apply nullable, but in reality, we are actually calling system nullable in the background, or the program is calling or applying system nullable. Just for the reference, I can show you how to apply system nullable. And here is an example. Let's say our variable name is another number. This syntax can also be used instead of this question mark. Question mark is just a shorthand of this syntax. Now the question is why we need that. Why do we need to convert non-nullable types into nullable types? The answer is to control dynamic values as a result of dynamic call. For example, we make a call to the database to get a numeric value, or we make a call to an API to get some response. In such cases, most of the time our program is running, and at runtime, when a null value is returned for the number type or the integer type variable, then these variables won't be able to handle that value. It's a very serious bug and our program eventually can crash. So we can activate the nullable behavior on the non-nullable types in order to get the null value in certain cases. However, the null value cannot be processed. So in a program where you have a risk of getting null value, you will always check your variable for the null or for the real value before you start using it. In order to check the null value, C# provides has value property. Let me give you a proper example of receiving a null value by a call. We will simply call a method that returns a null value, and then we will use the has value property in order to further investigate our variable. Let's say we have a method and the name of the method is database numeric value. Inside the method, we have a variable numeric value, and this variable can be null. So we are activating the nullable behavior on the variable, and now we will simply return that variable to the calling position. As this variable can also hold the null value, we need to activate the nullable behavior on the return section of the method declaration. Now in our program, as we call the method database numeric value, and we know that in most of the cases value is number, but it can be a null value. So in order to receive that value, we also need to activate the nullable behavior on the variable. Now, before using this result variable, it's very important we investigate it because it can have null value. At this point, the return value is a numeric 10, but it can be null. It's a database call and we exactly don't know. In an if statement, we will call the has value property on the result. I guess the has value property returns a true if the value is something else other than the null. And if the value is null, we will simply get a false and come inside the else statement. And here we can publish a message. The value is null. And if there is some value, we can simply use this result variable. Let's say we simply wanna multiply the result with result. Let's now run the program and select the output. As we know, the return value is null, so we would see this in the console. The value is null, and so this is the output, right? The value is null. When the value is not null, value is numeric. Let's say 10. 10 is a value other than the null value, so has value is gonna return a true, and so we can process our variable. Let's run the program, and now you will see 100 in the console. And here is the output, right? 100. Now, one last thing before we wind up this lecture. Instead of has value property, we can also use the normal not equals operator and compare it with the null, right? So this can also be done. This is actually the most common way to check for the null value. So my friends, it's now time to wrap up this lecture. In this lecture, we learned nullable types and how to convert non-nullable types into nullable types. The next lecture is actually the continuation of nullable types, and we will talk about some important operations which we can perform. I will see you there. Thanks for watching this one.